Let's talk about step 3. Evaluate alternatives and choose the techniques that will best uh, handle those losses. Having identified and measured the potential losses, managers are in a better position to decide how to handle them. With this third step, they generally have four choices. Uh, they can go for the risk avoidance, and I've explained it earlier. They can have the risk control, I've already explained it earlier. And then they can have the risk retention, I've already explained it earlier. And then they can have the risk transfer. I will explain all these four methods earlier in my previous video. So they can opt for these options: risk avoidance, risk control, risk retention, or risk transfer. So, having had explained all of them earlier, now we move on to step 4, which is to implement the risk management program. The means of implementing risk management decisions depend on both the techniques chosen and the activity being managed. For example, risk avoidance for certain activities can be implemented by purchasing those activities from outside providers, say hiring delivery services instead of operating delivery vehicles. Risk control might be implemented by training employees and designing new work methods and equipment for on the job safety. For situations in which risk retention is preferred, reserve funds can be set aside out of the revenues. When risk transfer is needed, implementation means selecting an insurance company and buying the right policies. Let's talk about the last step, which is step number 5: monitor results. Because risk management is an ongoing activity, follow up is always essential. New types of risk, for example, emerge with changes in customers, facilities, employees, and products. Insurance regularities, I beg your pardon, please. Insurance regulations change and new type of insurance become available. Consequently, the managers must continuously monitor a company's risk, reevaluate the methods used for handling them, and revise them as necessary. Insurance as risk management. To deal with some risk, both businesses and individuals might choose to purchase one or more of the products offered by the insurance companies. Buyers found insurance appearing for very basic reasons in return for a relatively small sum of money. The premium that they pay, they are protected against certain losses, some of them potentially devastating losses. According, Accordingly, buying insurance is a risk management activity for dealing with chance losses. With insurance, then, individuals and businesses share risk by contributing to a fund out of which those who suffer losses are paid. But why are insurance companies willing to accept these risks for other companies? Well, insurance companies make profits by taking in more premium than they pay out to cover the policyholders' losses. Quite simply, although many policyholders are paying for protection against the same type of loss, by no means will all of them suffer such a loss. Insurable versus uninsurable risk. Like every business, insurance companies must avoid certain risk. Insurers thus divide potential sources of loss into insurable risk and uninsurable risk. Obviously, they issue policies only for insurable risk, although there are some exceptions, and insurable risk must meet the four criteria described in the following part of the study. And they are predictability, they are causality, they are unconnectedness, and last one, verifiability. We'll talk about all of them in detail one by one. I'll cover some part of it in this video while the other in the upcoming video. Predictability. The insurer must be able to use statistical tools to forecast the likelihood of a loss. For example, an auto insurer needs the information about the number of vehicle accidents in the past year to estimate the expected number of accidents for the following year. With this knowledge, the insurer can translate expected numbers and types of the accidents into the expected dollar losses. The same forecast, of course, also helps the insurer determine the premium charge to policyholders.